Well, in further reaction to the Supreme Court judgment, the presidential villa is abuzz with activity as political associates, appointees and well-wishers of President Bola Tinubu converge at the seat of power to extend their congratulations. Now, this follows his victory earlier today in the apex court. President Tinubu had previously been declared the winner of the February 25 elections, although the PDP and Labour Party candidates contested the results. Among the early visitors are Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, Governor Doye Diri of Bayelsa State, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State.
Yes, I saw him on television. So
Mr. President,
and the Independent National Electoral Commission and others, I completely disagree. Therefore, I agree with my learned brother that the motion of the appellants filed on the 6th of October 2020
started from day one to work hard, regardless of the court cases. Okay, and just strengthen my resolve to do more. A challenge of this nature and a future of this nature is more work and more hard work, more dedication. Just appeal to the sense of patriotism of Nigeria to have a change of mindset. Let us be positive about our country, be ready to contribute in all ways possible. There's no promise of El Dorado from day one. We're all in this boat of diversity, a member of the same family, living in the same house, but staying in different rooms. And it is important that we recognize that we have no other country but this one. So we better be committed to it, not for the sake of our own self-aggrandizement, our commitment to the values, the creed of dedication, patriotism, and commitment to the value of this country. It is extremely important that we have a change of mindset for the sake of our country. Not for us, but for our children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren, the inheritors of tomorrow.
All right, well, that is the reaction of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, of course, following today's ruling from the Supreme Court that we've all been waiting for with bated breath. Of course, he has also released an official statement titled, "It is time for us to build our great nation together." And it echoes the same sentiments as what we've just heard in his speech there, which is that the court has done justice to all issues put up for consideration in the petitions on the merits of the law without fear or favor. There is no doubt with the profound judgment of today that our electoral jurisprudence and constitutional democracy are further consolidated and embedded more indelibly in our national identity because of the diligence and undaunted professionalism of the honorable justices who presided over the matter. While the verdict of today has laid to rest the agitating discourse over who truly won the 2023 presidential election and met the constitutional requirements as laid out by law, I want to reiterate that my faith in our nation's judiciary has never been shaken, not even for a moment, because I know that our hallowed courts of law will not fail to administer justice to all Nigerians in all matters and at all times. Despite the fusillade of pressure and attempts at intimidation by some political actors, the judiciary demonstrated its unequivocal commitment to upholding the rule of law for the upliftment and the defense of humanity. It was affirmed once more today that my party, the governing All Progressives Congress, had freely and fairly won the popular mandate of Nigerians, which has since given rise to my leadership of this great nation at a tumultuous period of unprecedented reforms in our history as a nation. With deep gratitude to God Almighty, I solemnly and humbly accept today's judicial victory with an intense sense of responsibility and a burning desire to meet the great challenges confronting our people. Of course, the statement goes on to say that the victory of today has further energized and strengthened my commitment to continue to serve all Nigerians of all political persuasions, tribes, and faiths with honor and total respect for the diverse opinions and uniting values of our citizens. Our renewed hope agenda for a greater and prosperous Nigeria has further gained momentum, and I will continue to work from morning to night every single day to build a country that meets our collective yearnings and aspirations. Of course, he reiterates, as we saw in his speech earlier, we're all members of one household, and this moment demands that we continue to work and build our country together. The strength of our diversity and the great citizenship that binds us must now compel us forward in directing the energy of our people towards building a virile, stronger, united, and more prosperous country. In the days and months ahead, I trust that the spirit of patriotism will be elevated into supporting our administration to improve the living conditions of Nigerians. I am prepared to welcome the contributions of all Nigerians to foster and strengthen our collective progress. I send my immense gratitude to all Nigerians for the mandate to serve our country. I promise again to meet and exceed your expectations in service delivery and good governance, working with my team and trusting in the grace of God. May God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's the official statement.
Well, I think a well-worded statement from the President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in the wake of the Supreme Court confirmation of his victory at the February 25 presidential election. And, resolving to continue to serve and serve very well, calling on Nigerians to be united and show spirit of patriotism and be positive about our country. I think these are words that you cannot even question. Well-worded statement from the president and his promise to meet the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians who voted him in as president. I think that is where the real work is, meeting the expectations of Nigerians. Because as we speak, of course, in the last, from May 29 till date, things have not been rosy, and that is a fact. So the president has a lot of work to do so that it is not said of him that things got worse under his watch.
Very well. So we've had wonderful analysis from you, both of you gentlemen, but we're also now going to bring in Frank Tietie, and he's joining us live from where all the action is happening, Abuja. Thank you so much, Frank, for being here on Newsday. Now, a moment ago, we heard from our correspondent, Omo Bazwaye, who took to the streets, that specifically Shehu Shagari Highway, and he was taking reactions from those who, the electorate, basically. And he spoke with the APC youth leader, Dayo Israel. And he reiterated the call, that has been made earlier on for a unification, whether it's those that are in favor of those that support the president or those who might support the opposition leaders. Knowing that the demonstrations were largely peaceful and that everything went smoothly, what's your take on that?
Oh, well, there's this expression that politics and governance are different things entirely. The politics has been dying down after the elections. There's been so much contention with regards to the election tribunal, the issues before the election tribunal. There were different expectations too. Some were hoping actually that the elections would, one way or the other, be overturned. But now that the Supreme Court has spoken, the seal of finality has been put on the issues. There is no doubt that there is a very, going to be a quick movement from politics to governance. Governance must at all times include the need for unity, because the strength of this country will lie in its unity. The divisions of this country have actually taken so much toll on this country to the extent that they are yet to heal. One of the hallmarks of a successful president is how much he's been so accepted across the length and breadth of the entire country. Then a president who is able to play down the sentiments of ethnicity and religion. Bola Ahmed Tinubu appears to have a golden opportunity at this time to be able to ride on the current challenges facing Nigeria now, to rally Nigerians rally Nigerians together in the hope that they can solve the problems, the economic problems, the social problems, the problems of insecurity. So the unity is not the call for unity is not an option. It's something that the government must invest heavily in beyond other forms of investment, whether economic or social investment that is making. Unity appears to be the key now, because if the country is divided, if some divisive elements and elements that are meant to who want to deliberately sabotage his government find bases, find loopholes to lash into by saying, especially by catering to and pandering to the demands of disgruntled elements, then governance will be very difficult for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It happened to President Goodluck Jonathan. The insecurity actually brought his government to its knees, despite all the laudable programs and a lot of money that it made from the sale of crude oil. Nevertheless, so long as a part of the country was pitched against his government, he didn't quite enjoy that kind of smooth governance that would have led to his re-election. President Tinubu at this time is faced with a mountain of problems, whether it's economic from over-borrowing in the previous administration to a naira that is on a free fall that is actually becoming a huge embarrassment to Nigerians now. Now, and then to think that the election was fought on the lines, on some ethnic and religious lines, it's now very important that he would push unity as a strength of his government. And that he has started well by also including those elements of the PDP, people like former Governor Nyesom Wike and the G5 people, giving them the opportunity to be part of the government. That is an example of how he can reach out to the Kwankwaso, he can reach out to the mixed up people, like Mr. Fix-It persons like Peter Obi, who have given various forms of solution to our economic troubles. If he's able to reach out to across these party lines, across these ethnic and religious lines, to call for help and not acting in the way and manner of the usual APC, that he knows it all and the rest of them are enemies of the government. No, if he tries that, I'm afraid that they'll spend a lot of resources, a lot of time in their government defending the actions and misactions of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration.
Now, you pointed out the mountain of challenges that we're currently facing. Let's talk a little bit about morale, which we know is currently low due to all the economic challenges we're currently facing and, of course, security challenges as well. What do you think this judgment will do for morale across the country?
First and foremost, it's good for us to come to the understanding that in law, we call it there must be an end to litigation. That is, somehow, in a game, there must be a finishing point. So it doesn't matter which way it has gone, Nigerians will begin to imbibe that game theory approach towards politics by saying, whichever way one may have looked at it, it has ended, and so let us now come together. Let us now decide whether we want to have a country that progresses, that prospers, under a stable government. So definitely the morale is quite low because many people expected a more pungent and a more, I would say, earth-shaking pronouncement by the Supreme Court, giving the hulabalo, giving the excitement, giving the, the length to which Atiku Abubakar went overseas, crossed the oceans to go and get evidence, all because of a presidential election. And there was so much hype about all of that. So people were expecting that, let's see what the Supreme Court would say. now, all of that have been put to rest. The Supreme Court took its position, and whatever the Supreme Court says becomes law, and we must take it that way. Now, having passed that stage, what Nigerians are now beginning to realize is that, okay, in the game of politics, a lot of factors come to play. One of which is not only to win the election, you also have to defend the elections, and then you also have to appear as if you want to work. Right now, Nigerians are a bit fallen. They are being, not so excited. But it now becomes a big challenge to the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, an inclusive form of government, an inclusive approach, and in a more vociferous government that tries to explain its policies and programs to Nigerians will be more helpful than an authoritarian government that wants to, create the impression of the winner takes it all, that makes pronouncements and says all and considers all its critics to be enemies or to be its enemies and dismisses them. This is the time for serious inclusion and for serious explanation of the processes of government to Nigerians. In that case, in the hope that Nigerians will now cooperate with it. And Nigerians realize that, yes, unless, because there is this understanding that there are subterranean forces that are actually against the government because of what it perceives, because of the legitimate question that faces it. All of that must be put aside now because this country is in dire straits, whether at home or abroad. And the president must do everything possible to make every Nigerian at this time feel that there is a government that serves them.
We
Not
certainly
a situation
hear you,
where
Frank, but we need to tie things up. We still have our analysts in studio, Mr. Sobowale, Mr. Emmanuel Efeni. You've listened to all that Frank has said. What are your reactions to his perspective on how things have played out? Mr. Sobowale,
he's trying to tell the president to show magnanimity in victory, like I said earlier, that he should run a government of inclusion, that he should not regard those who criticize his policies as enemies. But then, you see, if you have followed the trend before this decision was taken today, you will know that the president was like a person with one leg in, one leg out. Mm-hmm. Now, the affirmation of his victory has given him legitimacy and authority. So you can move now. And if you have seen the way he has been appointing people, although people have criticized that, but I think, you see, given his background as somebody who reached out, who built bridges, you know that he has contacts in almost all the 36 states and is a very Nigerian president. But what he's trying to tell him is that he should accommodate people. That, perhaps the elections are gone now. There is a victor, there is a vanquish, but he should reach out and accommodate views. Accommodate views, that is what is very important, what he's saying. The accommodation of views. Yes. That's tolerance. Accommodating views.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Sobowale. On that note, Mr. Efeni, please, your final remarks on this as we wrap up our commentary.
Well, the president's job is well cut out. There are challenges in the country, the economy, and the top of that. And how he deal with all the problems as well with the economy will ensure that Nigerians really key into his government. Because don't forget that the percentage of people who turned out to vote on the presidential election, not up to 35% of registered voters. The vote he scored, not up to 35% of those who even came out to vote. So there are many people who did not vote for him. So the real hard work is to come out with policies and solve the economic problem that affects everybody. If you are enjoying his policies, you don't have option but to support him. But if you are feeling the pinch of his policies, you will remember that you did not vote for him.
I think it's been a fantastic day. We've had rich analysis from all our analysts in studio and in Abuja. I would like to say a big thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Efeni, Mr. Sobowale, to Frank Tietie in Abuja, our correspondents, Godfrey Shimuge, Amobazoaye, the production crew. Thank you so much, and thank you to our viewers as well. Thank you, gentlemen.